Hey everybody, it's Trags, Mike Petraglia alongside Jimmy Murphy here inside TD Garden after an exciting 7-4 Bruins win in game number 7. This is the Garden Report powered by CLNS Media. Murph, I got to tell you, after 2 periods, I think we both were wondering on level 9 of TD Garden whether or not Tuukka Rask and the Bruins were going to be able to pull it out. And as it turned out, the Kitty Corps really came through in the 3rd period.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? But the veterans came through, too. I think it was a combination of both, but you're right. I mean, you got to just right away talk about Jake DeBrusk. This kid stole the show in my eyes in Game 7, but he already owned the show to me, Trags. I think he has been their most consistent player overall. Defense, forwards, goaltending. Right. He was their MVP in this series right now. He is something to watch, and he's only going to get better as these playoffs go on. Certainly
not an inexperienced rookie, but a young player, is still a very young, skilled player in Torrey Krug, who a lot of people wondered when would he show up. A minute 10 into the 3rd period, he picked a pretty good time to show up to game number 7 with the game-tying goal. That made it 4-4, and you had the sense when they scored that quickly into the 3rd period, the Bruins would take care of business. They did. As you mentioned, Jake DeBrusk scored the game tie-breaking goal, and then the Bruins really poured it on from there.
Yeah, but I want to go to that Krug goal because I'm watching that and I see the replay up on the TV there, and it takes me back to 2013. And I know we've heard so much of that this week, but it was so ironic because when he scored that goal, just like Milan Lucic did when he got the 3rd goal in that comeback, in that epic comeback against Toronto, he went like this, let's go, let's go. And Lucic did that out of Wolf of Wall Street. That's what that's from, and it worked, and it got the bench going. We asked everybody about it after, and they said, you're right. We felt that vibe. It got us together. It rallied the bench. And, of course, they said as well, in the intermission prior to that 3rd period, a lot of leaders spoke up and spoke for the Bruins.
Yeah, I talked to Zdeno Chara in the locker room after the game, and he said, look, we knew, a couple of us, what we had to say, and that is just get back to playing the right way. We've been together all season long, and we know the kind of hockey we're going to have to play, disciplined but yet aggressive, and there's a fine line there. Patrice Bergeron also said it after the game as well. I want to, though, talk about Tuukka Rask and your thoughts on, he's never been a lightning rod or anything, and that's ironic considering the next opponent for the Bruins, but Tuukka Rask. First 2 periods, how did you think he played versus the 3rd period?
You know what? Maybe it's because I love goalies. I was a goalie. I understand goalies a bit. I agree with him. Like, I didn't think he was that bad. I thought he was off. I thought there were some times where maybe, he didn't look like he was with it and he was a little shaky. But overall, when you look at the shots, I mean, they were good goals. And what are you going to do? And the one goal that he didn't really like, he said, was the Kapanen goal, the breakaway there. He didn't like how he got deked, and we know he hates shootouts, and that's what happens in shootouts for him. But I loved his resilience, and that's something maybe we haven't seen from Tuukka before. That's something that I think fans harp on him. He gives up, and he just starts to blame it on everyone else, and he sulks. He didn't do that. He battled through it, and that's a great sign for the Bruins going forward here.
Well, and that's exactly what I asked David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron after the game, to see Tuukka not sulking but keeping his head high, knowing, hey, look, those are good goals and nothing really I can do about it. One was a deflection. The 3rd Toronto goal of the night, he couldn't see. It was a deflection at the last second. But to not hang his head, Patrice and David Krejci both said, look, that's the Tuukka we've known and loved for so long.
Right, and I think that reflects this team as a whole this year. And, everybody was really tense in Boston coming into this game. The media, the fans, and even the players. They're going to tell you they weren't, but I saw them. They were really tense. But one thing they've been able to do is bounce back. And we didn't see it as much in the last 2 games. We saw it again. We saw the 2017-18 Bruins that we've grown to see here at TD Garden. And they did that. And I think that's a great sign for them, especially in the playoffs, when they're able to dig deep like that and really not let things faze them. And that was the key, I think. It was more mental than it was physical. The Bruins just got stronger mentally as that game went on, and that's great.
Bruins led this game 3-2 on a late first period goal going into the first intermission by Patrice Bergeron. Then the sweaty palms really started as Toronto outscored them 2-0 in the 2nd period. It was 4-3 Toronto, but it was all Boston in the 3rd period when it mattered most. The Bruins advanced to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning in round number 2. That series will begin on Saturday afternoon down in Tampa. Games 1 and 2 down in Tampa, and then games 3 and 4 back here in Boston next Wednesday and Friday night. It's going to be a fun series.
I think it's going to be great. And, these teams have battled it out, obviously being division rivals through the season. I think they match up well. A lot of people already saying Tampa's going to kill them, and I don't see that at all. I mean, the Bruins did pretty well against Tampa Bay in the regular season. I'm going Bruins in 6.
All right, we will see what happens. I want to get a better feel for how the Bruins come out in the first couple of games. I know that's kind of hedging my bet, but that's what I do. Anyway, the Bruins win Game 7, 7-4 over Toronto. This has been the Garden Report, powered by CLNS Media. He's Jimmy Murphy. I'm Mike Petraglia, CLNS Media.